Well, hello. My name is Izumi Tanaka with Home Green Homes. I am the host of the podcast, and I am a green realtor and lead green associate, as well as a Green Point rated home advisor. And today I have Dennis Stinson. Dennis is the Vice President of Sales for Fujitsu General America, a national manufacturer with distributors in local communities across the United States, Canada, and Caribbean, and brings over 30 years of industry experience. Dennis leads a team of sales professionals selling well over $300 million of Fujitsu product. At Fujitsu, Dennis has held the responsibility of regional sales manager in the Mid-Atlantic and the director of national accounts. Prior to joining Fujitsu, Dennis spent his career as a manufacturer's representative, representing various manufacturers in the HVAC industry throughout the Mid-Atlantic region. Dennis earned his Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration from Millersville University in Pennsylvania. Thank you so much, Dennis, for joining me today. I'm
Well,
so
thank you so much for having me. That was a great intro, by the way. I forgot all that I've done in my life to this point. So thank you for that summary, the accurate summary. So
yes,
it's a pleasure to be with you.
it's good to be reminded of your accomplishment, right?
Yes, yes.
So today I'd like to talk to you about how to keep the energy efficiency amid the COVID era's new normal, where household is becoming the hubs for all our family life. Our home is now office, a workplace, and classroom and gym, in addition to all the other family activities we already had. So the National Association of Realtors research shows that since the pandemic, 1 in 6 home buyers are purchasing multi-generational homes, which is bigger, accommodates grandparents to live with us and young kids to live with us. So this new full house family dynamic can also lead to increased energy usage, obviously, and consequently increasing utility bills. So, so I'm going to dive into our questions. What kind
Sure.
of tips can you offer for the homeowners to make their household more conducive to this new full house dynamic?
Well, that's a big question, right?
Yes, it
So
is.
there's a couple of things, and it probably starts with on the very basics of understanding what type of system that you have.
Mhm,
So understand what you have there today and how it operates. So
mhm,
is that a system that is high in efficiency, or is it an older system? Is
mhm.
that a system that has been serviced lately by a qualified professional contractor, as it should be? So has it been kept up to date and the ability to run at its best efficiency? And then simple things as this, are we changing our filters as
Right.
much as we should be? So that we're not creating an air dam or throwing a blanket over our coil to be able
Mhm,
to move the heating or air conditioning around. Some of the things that we can do, though, is we can take a harder look at our systems and see if we have changed the use in our house. And
right,
that's where Fujitsu fits in that real well. If we have a central system where we have one thermostat that's doing the entire house,
right.
there are chances that there's rooms that may not be comfortable as we want them to be. Maybe I prefer to sleep at 68. Maybe somebody in my family might prefer 72. Well,
Mhm,
who's cold, who wears a blanket, who's hot.
right.
With a system like us, you
Yeah.
have the ability to do individual comfort in each room. So
Mhm,
to answer your question, you start with understanding what you have. You
mhm,
understand how well it's been maintained and invest a little bit of time and energy and frankly some money in the system you have to keep it running best. And
mhm.
then look at opportunities. Are there a better way of doing what you're currently doing? Maybe because the use of your house has changed.
Right, exactly. And I think with a system like what Fujitsu offers, it provides the opportunity to divide the home into different areas. Um, in my home recently, I actually, in the pandemics, we upgraded our furnace system. We don't need a AC, fortunately, but during the winter it gets cold, and our thermostat is in the hallway, and it's always usually colder, right? The hallway. And then the living room is warmer because we have a fireplace. And then so the temperature difference was so much, I will be cooking in the living room and walk into my bedroom, it's freezing. And so
Yes.
with our new system, our home was not big enough to do zoning, but what we did was we got those sensors in um, different rooms so that
Hmm.
the system would read the different temperatures in different rooms so that they can, it can come up with some optimum temperature for the home, which really helped. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, what are some of the other tips that you can offer for homeowners to minimize or at least reduce the utility uh, consumption, or and therefore decrease the utility bills?
Well, so it starts with looking at what you have and understanding how efficiency works. So
Mm-hmm,
efficiency works in air conditioning by a rating of a SEER, SEER, and seasonal energy
mm-hmm,
efficiency rating. The
mm-hmm,
higher the number, the more efficient the piece of equipment is.
mm-hmm,
Um, National standards are 14 SEER in air conditioning in the South and 13 SEER in the North.
mm-hmm,
So that's the bare minimum that you can buy.
mm-hmm.
So it's well worthwhile to take a look and see if it makes sense for you to invest in higher efficiency. Efficiency you buy up front, it will cost you more, but the
Mm-hmm.
more you use it, the greater your payback.
Right.
In the ductless world, and unique to Fujitsu, but in the ductless world, we tend to be incredibly more efficient than what we find in a unitary system.
Mm-hmm.
And we have product that's high as 33 SEER, which is more than twice what the national mandate is or the code requirement is to
Mm-hmm.
get there. So the fact that we manufacture the cooling, if you will, more than twice the efficiency and then deliver that with zero duct loss to it, we're looking at incredible energy savings to be able to do that. But as you know, a home comfort system is really judged on a couple of different things, and that is efficiency and operating costs. And that's very important. I mean, we
Yeah.
want to be responsible stewards of the lands we live in. We want to be responsible stewards of our wallet too, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it would really be good if we were comfortable why that happened too.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
the fact that we can be comfortable in each and every room, and the fact that we can save money while doing that, and the fact that we can be responsible while we're doing that too, we
Exactly.
can kind of touch on all those points.
Mm-hmm. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about that, how ductless system work, because I think I have a pretty good understanding of it, but maybe it's not, still a little bit new in the market. I'm starting to see more and more mini split systems in newer homes, and older homes that are being renovated. But you can probably give us a brief introduction of how that mini split and ductless system may work.
Yeah. So the first conversation is that ductless systems are all, or Fujitsu systems are all heat pumps. So they are
Hmm.
heat pumps. There are no fossil fuel involved with it.
Hmm.
They're driven by electricity,
Right.
and we use a refrigerant, and it's a basic refrigerant cycle.
Hmm.
So we take, being a heat pump, we pump heat. So
Hmm.
what we do is we take heat from one area and we move it to another. So we don't introduce cooling. We actually take heat out and move it somewhere. So in air conditioning mode, take the heat from the outside and move it to the outside. In heating mode, we take it from the outside and move it inside.
Right.
How a ductless heat pump works is that we have an outside unit,
Hmm.
and then we run two pipes and a wire to an indoor unit. And that indoor unit is what's typically called the evaporator, and that's what creates the heating and cooling on the inside. So we dispense the temperature at the point of use, as opposed to having a piece of equipment in the basement and dispensing it through ductwork, and the ductwork goes to each room. We put a piece of equipment in each room so that we can dial in the exact temperature. Every indoor unit, for the sake of argument,
Hmm.
has piping that runs to an outdoor unit, and the
Hmm.
outdoor unit ramps up and down through inverter technology to meet the load of the inside. So it's not all on and all off. So
Mhm.
I know that's kind of a wandering answer to the
Yeah.
question, yeah. But you have an indoor unit and you have an outdoor unit, and you got some piping that runs between it. And it's a heat pump and it ramps up and down. So it does it pretty efficiently.
Mhm. Now, so how does that compare to traditional AC system? So when people are considering of replacing their old system, um, if they are faced with choices between installing a ductless mini split system as opposed to what we've already known, the
Right.
traditional AC system. How does that compare in cost wise, or is it accessible, affordable?
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a couple of thoughts to it. And
Mhm.
I've been in the industry long enough to know that one solution is not the solution for everything,
Right,
and that sometimes different things make better sense than other
right.
things. So, if as a property owner, when my air conditioning system or my heat pump gives up the ghost, I'm looking at a couple of things on it.
Right.
And that is, when it worked, did it work?
Mm,
So, when my system worked
mhm,
before it gave up the ghost,
mhm.
was every room comfortable? If every room wasn't comfortable in it, then I really need to look at another solution. But if
Right.
it was, then that means my ductwork was probably in good shape. And
Mhm,
now I can look at maybe taking a traditional unitary system to a higher level. But however, if the use of my property has changed, if my rooms were comfortable, and by the way, our industry, one of our industry groups tells us that over 80% of all homes has at least one uncomfortable room in it. So there's chance that a house has an uncomfortable room in it. If that's the case,
right.
then ductless starts making a lot of sense. So then
Mhm,
let's take a step back and see how
mhm,
that fits.
mhm,
Um, it it is comparable in price to a traditional unitary system
mhm,
when adding in the ductwork. If the
mhm.
ductwork's already there in, then I'm going to cost a little bit more to it. But then that's where, as a property owner, you balance increased gained efficiency and savings down the road and
Mhm,
also comfort. So,
mhm.
are you driven by install cost, operating cost, or efficiency and comfort? How do all those things blend in for you? And everybody's different.
Mhm. Yeah, and also another thing to consider is that with the systems like mini split, um, you can now probably get some kind of incentives in the way of a rebate or I don't know. But there are some incentives
Absolutely.
available, correct?
They're very big incentives. In fact, you're leading me down the avenue that I love to go down, and
Mhm.
that's a conversation about the strategic electrification. And really,
Right.
what we're finding, really since the mid 70s, if not 80s, we're looking at a conscious effort by our country to become energy independent. And
Hmm.
that is migration away from fossil fuels,
Right.
and that is towards electricity. And heat pumps are a great way to get there.
Hmm.
So the biggest two consumers of fossil fuels in our country and really in the world are transportation and heating and cooling. We
Right.
see what's happening in the hybrids of cars. Didn't think we'd live long enough to see that, but we're seeing that.
Right.
Now we're seeing the same type of movement, if you will, happening on the heating and air conditioning side.
Hmm. Hmm.
So going down that avenue with it, then we're seeing incentives from the utilities coming back to
Right.
go to high efficiency. And I would
Right.
recommend taking a look at our website, fujitsugeneral.com. We've got an
Hmm.
eco rebate finder in there.
Hmm.
You can enter your zip code, or if you wait long enough, it's a little creepy. It'll figure out where you are. It'll come right back with exact rebates, where they are and how they qualify. And so you could look at a system and it'll tell you that in your particular area, there might be
Right.
$500 or $700 in rebates. So
Right.
today, it's actually less expensive to put in a more efficient system because of the incentives coming back. It
Mhm,
is cheaper to go more
mhm,
efficient in
mhm.
many places in the United States.
Right, and you're gonna be saving some,
Ah,
quite a bit on your bill, correct?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. In
yeah,
fact, most people that go from a fossil fuel to a ductless heat pump are seeing somewhere in the minimum level of about a 40% savings. That's pretty
on the
dramatic.
on the
That's very
utility
dramatic.
bill.
Correct.
Mhm,
Correct.
mhm.
So
That is significant.
it is.
Yeah, yeah,
It
so
is.
other than the HVAC system, can you think of any other, little things that homeowners can do to to make your home more efficient, therefore, obviously, saving on the utility bills. And also, is there any um, way that you can offer um, other things, maybe lifestyle change or habit, that how we live in our daily life, especially now
Oh,
that we're spending
absolutely.
so much time at home.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that are easy enough to do now with technology. So
Mhm.
everything has become app based.
Right.
So our equipment now can be app based as
Mhm,
well, and you can do it
mhm.
through our app, or we're
Yeah,
tied in with the IFT app, if this then that app. So you can, once it gets to certain degrees outside, it'll set a temperature and play music for you, and it'll do all
right,
kinds of neat stuff, or
right.
geolocate you. So when you come home, it opens the garage door, starts the coffee pot, turns the air conditioner, does all that. It does do all that.
Sure.
So all of that's great fun stuff. And
Mhm,
certainly, so doing some setback things in
mhm.
times when you're not there is a great idea. But, I'm also a big fan of it's a nice day outside, open the window.
Yeah,
So you don't always have to be running your heating or air conditioning. There
right,
is fresh air outside. So
right.
it's good to have a window open, a good screen, but it's good to have
Mhm.
a window open from time to time, get
Yeah,
some fresh air in amongst your property.
yes.
Um, and I think that in many cases, as we're seeing through COVID, the inside of the house has now become the outside of the house. I think
Mhm.
that we're seeing a lot of hardscaping activities, and try to find a guy to do a swimming pool. I think you're probably 2 years out now. So I think everybody's rediscovering the great outside now.
Mhm. That's specific, especially relevant for us in Southern California because we are blessed with beautiful weather,
Yes,
for most of the year, and people are spending more time outdoor and spending time with others outdoor rather than
absolutely.
indoor. It's very relevant. So we have this this whole family dynamic that's becoming a whole new norm, right? So in general, what do you think that we are going in terms of our energy usage, not just in the homes, but maybe, all the life that entails us. If
Well,
you
I think we're
force
seeing I think we're seeing just some great innovations, really
Mhm.
um, unbelievable innovations year over year over
Yeah,
year.
yeah,
And we're seeing things where, we're driving down the cost of um, uh, home comfort systems. We're driving down the cost of
right.
domestic water in our house. We're
Mhm,
watching our cars get to efficiency levels that I would have never thought as a
mhm,
kid, and
mhm.
still getting great performance and great styling out of
Yes,
them.
yes.
We're watching um, people installing solar panels in or around their property or on their roofs. So we're seeing houses that are at or getting near net zero. And I'm
Mhm.
not sure that, in the 70s or 80s or 90s, we thought that that was that close. So I think that we're really getting there. I
Yeah.
think what we're seeing with, some of our friends up in Redwood, California, just coming up with some great battery technology that
Oh, wow.
we never really thought that was capable before. So,
Mhm.
when we had hybrid cars before, they could get you to the corner and back,
Yeah,
and now they can operate almost as good as, well, probably better
yeah.
than some of the gas powered cars. So
Mhm.
when we take a step back, our technology is really leaping forward, and it's wonderful to see that we're embracing that.
I agree. I'm actually quite optimistic, I should say, with all the new technologies coming up. And as when we first talked, I've said to you that I felt like the momentum has been uh, gaining. And I think it's almost that critical mass of like this movement is not going to stop. We're just
I
really
agree.
moving forward. And there's a lot of great innovations coming up, and it's really exciting to see.
It is, and I certainly appreciate how you talk about it, because as your profession in real estate, we always talk about location, right? We always
Mm-hmm.
talk about a lot of the amenities on the
Right,
inside,
right.
and many don't look beyond the walls. We look
Mm-hmm.
at the physical appearance, but there's
Right,
so much more to owning a home and
right.
selecting a home. And
Mm-hmm.
just love the fact that you're talking about what's behind the walls and the
Right,
mechanical systems, and
exactly.
what is this home doing. So thank you
Mm.
for your effort in doing that, because that is the granite countertop is nice,
Yeah,
but what it's going to cost you to live there and operate and be
right.
comfortable, you'll remember that much longer than what color
Mm-hmm.
the countertop
Yeah,
was. Yeah,
yeah, and the health of the occupants really
absolutely.
matters, and what all the innovations that we've been talking about really contributes to the health of people, and it leads to productivities. Now that we are working from home and kids are studying at home and taking classes at home, and I think creating a home that is really conducive to all these activities it's going to be increasingly important in our life, I think.
Yeah, and I think that what we're seeing too is that we're seeing that maybe we don't have to go back to
Hmm.
100% of the way we were, that
Right.
maybe there's a level of working from home that is
Mhm.
good. Maybe there's a
Mhm.
level of not so much travel. So I,
Right.
I don't know that we'll go back to 100% what we were. We won't stay
Yeah.
where we are,
Yeah.
but I think we'll probably see some higher hybrid models. And
Yeah.
exactly to your point, we'll see the home becoming more of a, I don't want to say communal space, but more of a different functioning kind of space
Yeah.
might be the right way to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you so much for all your great insight. And you mentioned it earlier, maybe you can repeat again. Where is a great place to find out more about the products that you offer to this world?
Well, thank you. I would encourage people to look at our website, which is fujitsugeneral.com,
Mhm.
FUJITSUGENERAL.com. Some great information on product, great resources on the rebate finders.
Mhm.
Give us a look. I think you'll enjoy it.
Great. Thank you so much, Dennis.